What if the cup that begins your day, that trusted companion for decades, is a mirror reflecting a truth you haven't been willing to see? We drink it for energy, for focus, for comfort. But what if the way we engage with it is built upon a foundation of myths, slowly compromising the very vitality we seek? Most will only hear the surface-level facts. 99% will miss the final unifying principle of wise stewardship. And it is there, in that quiet space of understanding, that the entire relationship between your body and this powerful plant is transformed from one of dependence to one of mastery. Perceived energy. The first and most pervasive myth is that coffee gives you energy. This is a profound illusion, the foundational misunderstanding that governs our entire relationship with this substance. Coffee contains no energy. It does not provide fuel. It is not like food. What it does is force your own body to expend its own energy reserves at an accelerated and unnatural pace. It is a whip, not a horse. It is a declaration of emergency, not a peaceful provision. Imagine your body as a quiet, ancient temple. Deep within this temple, in the adrenal glands, lies the sacred treasury. This treasury holds your life force, your deepest reserves of energy, meant for true moments of crisis. When you wake in the morning, the temple has its own gentle, natural way of awakening. A soft light, the hormone cortisol, begins to glow, slowly and rhythmically bringing warmth and awareness to the halls. This is your body's own perfect internal awakening. Now imagine what happens when you pour a cup of coffee into this awakening temple. The caffeine storms the gates. It is a loud, aggressive force. It runs to the sacred treasury, puts a sword to the guard and screams, "Give me everything now!" The body, in a state of alarm, floods the temple with stress hormones. This is the jolt you feel. It is not the gift of energy from the coffee. It is the panicked expenditure of your own sacred reserves. Your heart beats faster, your senses sharpen, your muscles tense. You are preparing for a battle that does not exist. To do this every day for 50, 60 or more years is a form of chronic self-assault. The temple grows weary of the daily alarm. The treasurer becomes exhausted. The sacred reserves, once deep, run low. The body, in its wisdom, begins to dampen its own natural morning light. Why should it bother when it knows the loud invasion is coming? This is the cycle of dependence. You are no longer drinking coffee for a boost. You are drinking it simply to feel normal, to fill the hole of energy that your own body has stopped producing because you have taught it not to. To understand this is the first step toward freedom. You must see that the energy you perceive is borrowed from your own future, and the interest on that loan is your long-term vitality. Empty water. The second great myth is that coffee dehydrates you because it is a diuretic. This is a half-truth, and a half-truth is often more dangerous than a complete falsehood because it prevents us from seeing the deeper reality. Yes, caffeine does have a mild diuretic effect, meaning it tells your kidneys to expel fluid. But for a regular coffee drinker, this effect is minimal. The water in the coffee itself largely compensates for the fluid lost, so you are not becoming dehydrated in the simple sense of losing volume. The real problem is far more subtle and far more damaging. The real problem is not the loss of water, but the loss of what is in the water. Think of your body as a vast inner ocean. For this ocean to be alive, for its currents to carry the messages of life, for your nerves to fire and your muscles to contract, it must be salty. It must be rich in the minerals we call electrolytes: sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium. These are the carriers of the electrical spark of life. When you drink coffee, the diuretic effect flushes not just water, but these precious, life-sustaining minerals from your system. Every cup is a small act of depletion, a slow draining of the very mineral wealth that gives your inner ocean its vitality. After the age of 60, our mineral reserves are often already diminished. The soils our food is grown in are less rich, and our digestive systems may not be as efficient at absorbing the minerals we do consume. We are already in a state of subtle mineral deficiency. Now, on top of this, we add a daily habit that actively flushes these essential elements out of our bodies. This is why you can drink coffee and water all day and still feel a deep cellular thirst. Your cells are parched not for water, but for the minerals that allow the water to be used. They are islands in a diluted, weakening sea. The myth is that coffee dehydrates you. The fact is that chronic, high consumption of coffee in a body that is not being consciously remineralized contributes to a state of electrolyte imbalance and mineral depletion. This leads to muscle cramps, fatigue, brain fog, and a general weakening of the body's entire electrical system. The solution is not necessarily to stop drinking coffee, but to stop the unconscious depletion. It is to understand that if you are going to engage with a substance that encourages mineral loss, you must engage in a conscious practice of putting those minerals back. You must tend to the saltiness of your inner ocean with the same diligence that you tend to the ritual of your morning cup. Focused mind. Now we turn from myth to fact. A profound and well-documented fact is that caffeine can indeed enhance cognitive function. It can improve focus, alertness, and memory. This is not an illusion. It is a real, measurable biochemical effect. But to understand this as simply good is to remain a child in your understanding. A fire is also good for providing warmth, but if you do not understand its nature, it will burn your house down. We must understand the mechanism to use the tool with wisdom. Caffeine's primary action in the brain is to block the receptors for a neurotransmitter called adenosine. Adenosine is the molecule of sleep pressure. As you go through your day, adenosine slowly accumulates in your brain. The more that builds up, the sleepier you feel. It is the body's gentle, persistent signal that it is time to rest. When you sleep, your brain clears away this adenosine, and you wake up feeling refreshed. Caffeine works by acting as a clever imposter. It fits perfectly into the adenosine receptors, but does not activate them. It sits there, blocking the real adenosine from delivering its message of tiredness. This is the source of the heightened alertness. The sleep signal is being blocked. This can be an incredibly useful tool for a specific task that requires intense concentration, for a long drive, for a moment when you need to be sharp and clear. Caffeine can be a powerful ally. It can help you to cut through mental fog and achieve a state of high focus. This is a fact, and it is a gift. But the wise steward of the temple does not use a powerful tool carelessly. The fact that caffeine improves focus does not mean that more is better or that it should be used constantly. To constantly block your adenosine receptors is to ignore your body's own signals of fatigue. It is like constantly silencing a fire alarm while the building smolders. The fatigue is still there, the need for rest is still real, but you are simply refusing to listen. This leads to burnout, to a deeper exhaustion that no amount of caffeine can ultimately overcome. The wisdom lies in the timing and the intention. The fact is that caffeine can enhance focus. The practice is to use it strategically, not habitually. It is to employ it for a specific purpose for a finite period, and then to allow the body to rest and clear the adenosine naturally. It is to use the tool and then to put it away, rather than carrying it in your hand all day long. Brittle bones. One of the most persistent and fear-inducing myths surrounding coffee and aging is the idea that it is a primary cause of osteoporosis, that it leaches calcium from the bones, leaving them brittle and prone to fracture. This fear has led many seniors to abandon a ritual they enjoy or to drink it with a sense of guilt and anxiety. It is time to bring the light of truth to this shadow. Here is the fact: caffeine consumption does slightly increase the amount of calcium that is lost through the urine. This is a real, measurable effect. However, the amount of this loss is incredibly small. The research is very clear on this. The amount of calcium lost from drinking 1 cup of coffee can be completely offset by adding as little as 2 tablespoons of milk to your diet. For most people, the effect is so minor as to be nutritionally insignificant. So why does the myth persist? Because it points to a real problem, but it blames the wrong culprit. It is like seeing a small crack in a dam and blaming the crack, while ignoring the fact that the entire foundation of the dam is crumbling. The real issue for bone health as we age is not the tiny amount of calcium lost from coffee. The real issue is a diet and lifestyle that is profoundly deficient in the key nutrients and stimuli that bones actually need to stay strong. Our modern diet is often low in magnesium, vitamin K2, and vitamin D, three nutrients that are far more important for getting calcium into the bone than the coffee is for taking it out. We live sedentary lives, and our bones, like our muscles, need the stimulus of weight-bearing exercise to signal them to remain dense and strong. The myth is that coffee causes osteoporosis. The fact is that coffee has a negligible effect on bone health in the context of a diet that is otherwise rich in the true bone-building nutrients. The danger is not the coffee. The danger is using the fear of coffee as a distraction from the real work of building a foundation of deep, holistic nourishment. To worry about the 2 tablespoons of milk while ignoring your magnesium intake, while ignoring your need for vitamin D from the sun, while ignoring the need to walk and move your body is a profound misplacement of attention. The wise steward does not obsess over the small crack. They focus their energy on reinforcing the entire foundation of the temple. Inner guardian. We now move from dispelling a negative myth to illuminating a positive and often surprising fact. While we may think of coffee as a stressor or a stimulant, a large body of scientific evidence points to a remarkable and protective effect on one of the most vital organs in your body, the liver. The liver is the master alchemist of the temple, the great guardian at the gate. It is responsible for detoxifying everything that enters your system, for processing nutrients, for producing essential proteins. As we age, the liver, like all our organs, can come under strain from a lifetime of exposure to environmental toxins, medications, and dietary indiscretions. Here is the fact. Regular, moderate consumption of coffee has been consistently and strongly associated with better liver health. It is linked to lower levels of liver enzymes, which are a marker of liver damage and inflammation. It has been shown to reduce the risk of developing liver fibrosis and cirrhosis, which is the scarring of the liver, and it is even associated with a lower risk of liver cancer. This effect is so robust that coffee is now considered one of the most powerful hepatoprotective, liver-protecting substances you can consume. How does this work? The mechanism is complex, but it seems that compounds in coffee, including caffeine, but also the hundreds of other polyphenols and antioxidants, help to protect the liver cells from damage. They appear to stimulate the production of glutathione, which is often called the body's master antioxidant. Glutathione is a crucial substance that your liver uses to neutralize toxins and reduce oxidative stress. In essence, the coffee acts as a mild beneficial stressor, a principle known as hormesis. It presents a small challenge to the liver, which then responds by upregulating its own internal defense systems, making it stronger and more resilient in the long run. This is a beautiful example of the paradoxical nature of natural medicine. A substance that we think of as a vice or a stimulant is in fact acting as a powerful guardian for a vital organ. This fact invites us to move beyond simplistic labels of good and bad. It asks us to see that the relationship between a plant and our body is complex, nuanced, and filled with surprising wisdom. To drink a pure, clean cup of coffee may not just be an act of waking the mind, but an act of protecting the very guardian of your inner temple. Racing heart? A common experience and a source of great fear for many older adults is the feeling of a racing heart or palpitations after drinking coffee. This has led to the pervasive myth that coffee is inherently dangerous for the heart. This is a topic that requires great discernment as it touches upon a real experience but often misinterprets the cause. Let us begin with the facts. For the vast majority of people, moderate coffee consumption, typically defined as up to 3 to 4 cups per day, is not associated with an increased risk of heart disease or dangerous arrhythmias. In fact, many large-scale observational studies show the opposite. Regular moderate coffee drinkers often have a lower risk of cardiovascular problems. The antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds in coffee appear to have a protective effect on the heart and blood vessels over the long term. So why do some people experience that frightening, racing heart? The answer lies not in the coffee itself, but in the context and the individual. First, there is a genetic component. We all have a gene, CYP1A2, that produces an enzyme responsible for metabolizing caffeine in the liver. Some people have a version of this gene that makes them fast metabolizers. They process and clear caffeine quickly. Others are slow metabolizers. For them, the caffeine lingers in their system for much longer and its effects are more pronounced. A slow metabolizer is far more likely to experience negative cardiovascular effects like palpitations and elevated blood pressure. This is not a weakness, it is simply knowing your own nature. What if the cup that begins your day, a ritual performed for decades, is not the simple comfort you believe it to be, but a profound and misunderstood medicine? We have been taught to see it as a vice, a crutch, a guilty pleasure. What if this is a profound illusion, a shadow of misunderstanding that has kept us from receiving its truest gifts? Most will only hear the surface-level benefits. 99% will miss the final, unifying principle of wise application, and it is there, in that quiet space of understanding, that this simple daily act is transformed from a habit into a powerful practice of self-cultivation. Right perspective? Before we can speak of the benefits, we must first cleanse our perception. We must hold this dark, fragrant brew in our minds and see it not as a commodity, but as what it is, a potent plant medicine. Like any powerful medicine, its effect is determined not by the substance alone, but by the dose, the timing, the purity, and the wisdom of the one who consumes it. A fire can cook your food and warm your home, or it can burn your temple to the ground. The fire is not good or bad, it is simply powerful. The outcome depends entirely on the skill and awareness of the one who tends it. Coffee is this fire. For too long, we have engaged with this medicine from a place of unconscious need. We feel tired, so we drink. We feel foggy, so we drink. We are using it as a crude tool to hammer our bodies and minds into a state of alertness. This is the way of a child. The path of wisdom, especially after the age of 60, is to move from this reactive state to one of conscious partnership. It is to ask not, what can this do for me right now? But how can I work with this powerful ally to cultivate a state of long-term vitality? This shift in perspective is everything. It is the difference between being a slave to a craving and a master of a powerful tool. It is the difference between borrowing energy from tomorrow and cultivating an energy that is authentic and sustainable today. The benefits we are about to explore are not automatic. They are not guaranteed simply by the act of drinking. They are the fruits that grow on the tree of wise and mindful consumption. They are the result of a practice, not a product. To understand this is to hold the key. Without this understanding, the door to the deepest benefits will forever remain locked, even as you hold the cup in your hand. Inner light. The first and perhaps most profound gift of this practice is the preservation and enhancement of the inner light, the clarity and resilience of your mind. As we journey through the later seasons of life, the greatest fear for many is not the weakening of the body, but the fading of this inner light, the dimming of the flame of consciousness. It is the fear of brain fog, of forgetfulness, of losing the sharp edge of our awareness. Coffee, when used with wisdom, is one of the most powerful guardians of this sacred flame. The primary mechanism is one we have often misunderstood. Caffeine works by acting as a guardian at the gates of your brain cells. It blocks the receptors for a molecule called adenosine. Adenosine is the gentle messenger of fatigue. It is the sleep pressure that naturally builds throughout the day, signaling to your brain that it is time for rest. By standing guard at these gates, caffeine prevents this message from being delivered. The result is a state of heightened alertness and focus. The mental chatter can quiet down, and the ability to concentrate on a single task is enhanced. This is not a false energy, it is the unmasking of the clarity that is already present, but was being clouded by the message of fatigue. But the protection goes much deeper. The coffee bean is not just a source of caffeine, it is a treasure chest packed with hundreds of bioactive compounds, most notably powerful antioxidants and polyphenols. Think of your brain as a finely tuned, intricate machine that is constantly working, constantly creating energy. This process, like any process of combustion, creates a byproduct, a kind of metabolic smoke known as oxidative stress. Over decades, this smoke can cause a slow, steady rusting of our cellular machinery, contributing to the process of cognitive decline. The antioxidants in coffee are like a vast army of cleaners and protectors. They move through the sacred halls of the mind, neutralizing this oxidative stress, polishing the machinery, and protecting the neurons from damage. This is not a mere theory. A vast body of scientific evidence has shown that regular, moderate coffee consumption is strongly associated with a significantly lower risk of developing neurodegenerative diseases, including Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. It is a daily act of preventative medicine for your most precious organ. It is a way of tending to the inner light, not with a frantic, flickering flame, but with a steady, protective, and clarifying glow. To drink a pure cup of coffee with this intention is to perform a daily ritual for the preservation of your own consciousness. Inner guardian. The second surprising benefit of this wise practice is the protection of the great alchemist of the body, the guardian of your inner purity, the liver. The liver is the master chemist of your temple. It is tasked with the monumental job of filtering everything that enters, of detoxifying harmful substances, of processing nutrients, and of manufacturing thousands of essential compounds. Over a lifetime, this guardian can grow weary. It can become burdened by environmental toxins, by medications, by a diet that was not always pure. One might assume that a substance like coffee, which the liver must process, would be another burden. The truth, as revealed by an overwhelming amount of research, is the exact opposite. Coffee has been shown to be profoundly hepatoprotective, meaning it protects the liver. Regular, moderate coffee consumption is one of the most powerful things you can do to support the health of this vital organ. The evidence is remarkably consistent. Coffee drinkers have lower levels of the liver enzymes that indicate inflammation and damage. They have a significantly lower risk of developing liver fibrosis and cirrhosis, which is the dangerous scarring of the liver that can lead to liver failure. The protective effect is so strong that it is even observed in people who have pre-existing liver conditions. What is the secret behind this seemingly paradoxical effect? The answer lies in the principle of hormesis, or a beneficial stress. The compounds in coffee, including caffeine but also its many polyphenols, present a mild, manageable challenge to the liver cells. In response to this gentle challenge, the liver does not weaken, it adapts, it becomes stronger, it upregulates its own internal defense systems, it increases its production of glutathione, the body's master antioxidant and detoxifier. In essence, by giving your liver a small, regular workout, you are training it to be more resilient, more efficient, and more powerful in its role as your inner guardian. This is a profound lesson in the wisdom of nature. It teaches us to move beyond simplistic labels of good and bad. A substance that can be a stressor in a high abusive dose can become a powerful medicine in a moderate, respectful dose. To drink your daily cup of coffee is not an act of indulgence that your liver must tolerate. It is a supportive ritual that helps to fortify your primary guardian, ensuring it can continue its sacred work of maintaining the purity of your inner temple for many years to come. Quiet flame. The third profound benefit of this practice is the support of your quiet flame, your metabolic health. The metabolism is the inner fire that transforms the food you eat into the life force that animates your being. As we age, this fire can become less stable. It can become prone to sputtering and smoking, particularly in its relationship with blood sugar and insulin. Maintaining a stable inner fire is a cornerstone of long-term health, protecting against a cascade of issues from weight gain to heart disease. Coffee, when consumed with wisdom, can be a powerful tender of this quiet flame. A large body of evidence has shown that regular coffee consumption is associated with a significantly lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. This is a profound benefit, as metabolic dysfunction is one of the primary drivers of accelerated aging. The compounds in coffee appear to work in several ways. They help to improve the body's sensitivity to insulin, meaning your cells are better able to hear the message that insulin is sending to take up glucose from the blood. They also seem to have a beneficial effect on the function of the beta cells in the pancreas, the very cells that produce insulin. Furthermore, the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects of the polyphenols in coffee help to quell the low-grade chronic inflammation that is a key driver of insulin resistance. In essence, coffee helps to create a more harmonious and efficient conversation between your cells, your hormones, and the fuel you consume. It helps to keep the metabolic fire burning cleanly and steadily without the dramatic spikes and crashes that come from poor blood sugar control. But here, we must come to a crucial point of understanding, a place where this benefit is either realized or completely destroyed. This profound metabolic benefit is found only in black coffee. The moment you add sugar, sweetened creamers, or flavored syrups, you are not just negating the benefit. You are actively creating the very problem you wish to solve. You are taking a medicine that supports metabolic health and turning it into a poison that drives metabolic chaos. To add a spoonful of sugar to your coffee is to pour water on the quiet flame and throw a handful of wet, smoky leaves on top. The practice of drinking coffee for metabolic health is a practice of uncompromising simplicity. It is an embrace of the pure, unadulterated nature of the medicine and a rejection of the artificial sweetness that is the enemy of a stable inner fire. Long path. When we cultivate a clear mind, protect our inner guardian, and tend to our quiet flame, the natural result is a profound and overarching benefit, the support of a long and vital life. This is not a mystical claim, it is a conclusion supported by a vast amount of scientific observation. The fourth great gift of a wise coffee practice is its association with longevity and a reduction in what is known as all-cause mortality. This simply means that on average, regular moderate coffee drinkers tend to live longer and have a lower risk of dying from a wide range of chronic diseases, including heart disease, stroke, and certain types of cancer. This benefit is not due to a single magic bullet compound in coffee. It is the synergistic result of all the effects we have discussed. It is the grand symphony playing in harmony. The hundreds of antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds in coffee work together to protect your entire system from the slow, steady damage of oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, which are the two fundamental pillars of the aging process. By reducing this underlying rust and fire, you are preserving the integrity of every organ, every tissue, and every cell in your body. The protection of the brain, the liver, and the metabolic system creates a powerful trifecta of health. A healthy brain allows you to stay engaged, to keep learning, to maintain your social connections, all factors strongly linked to a longer, happier life. A healthy liver ensures that your body can effectively cleanse itself, preventing the buildup of toxins that can accelerate aging. A healthy metabolism ensures that your body is fueled efficiently and that your cardiovascular system remains strong and supple. To engage in a daily, mindful coffee ritual is to perform a small, consistent act that supports all of these systems simultaneously. It is a practice of preventative medicine. It is a daily investment in your future health span, not just the length of your life, but the quality of your life. It is a way of walking the long path of life with a body that is more resilient, a mind that is more clear, and a spirit that is more vibrant. It is a testament to the fact that small, wise, consistent actions performed with intention over many years are what truly create a life of enduring health and vitality. Wise method. The promise of these profound benefits is real, but it is not unconditional. The gifts are only bestowed upon those who approach the temple with respect. They are unlocked only through the wise method. This method is not a rigid set of rules, but a series of principles that together create a harmonious and beneficial practice. The first principle is purity of source. You cannot draw clean water from a polluted well. The benefits of coffee are found in high-quality organic beans that have been meticulously grown and processed to be free of pesticides and mycotoxins. The water you use must also be pure and filtered. This principle is an act of self-respect. It is the commitment to use only the finest materials to care for your inner temple. The second principle is intelligent timing. The wise craftsman knows when to use a tool. This means honoring your body's natural waking rhythm by practicing the sacred pause, waiting 90 minutes after waking to have your first cup. This allows your own natural energy to rise first. It also means honoring your body's sacred need for deep sleep by establishing a closing gate, a firm caffeine cutoff time in the early afternoon, no later than 2 p.m. for most, to ensure the caffeine does not disrupt your sleep architecture. The third principle is uncompromising simplicity. The deepest power of this medicine is found in its pure, unadulterated form. This means learning to drink your coffee black. To add sugar is to add metabolic chaos. To add artificial sweeteners is to add chemical confusion. To add low-quality dairy is to add inflammation. The practice of drinking coffee black is a discipline of clarity, a refusal to mask the true nature of the medicine with the fleeting pleasure of sweetness. The fourth principle is appropriate dose. More is not better. A medicine in the right dose is healing. In a high dose, it becomes a poison. For most older adults, the zone of benefit lies between 1 and 3 cups of coffee per day. Beyond this, the risks of disrupting sleep, depleting minerals, and overstimulating the nervous system begin to outweigh the benefits. The wise steward does not seek a crashing wave of stimulation, but a gentle, steady current of clarity. To integrate these 4 principles into your daily ritual is to transform the act of drinking coffee from a potentially harmful habit into a profoundly healing and life-affirming practice. It is the difference between unconscious consumption and conscious cultivation. Unifying principle. We have explored the many gifts of this practice, but there is one final unifying principle that ties them all together and reveals the deepest secret of coffee's power. It is the principle of hormesis, or the beneficial stressor. This is one of nature's most profound and elegant laws. It states that a small, manageable dose of a stressor can stimulate the body's own defense and repair systems, making it stronger and more resilient in the long run. Think of how a muscle grows. You must stress it with resistance. The stress creates microscopic tears, and in response, the body not only repairs the tears, but builds the muscle back stronger than before. Think of how a vaccine works. A tiny, harmless dose of a pathogen stimulates the immune system to build a powerful, lasting defense. This is hormesis. It is the wisdom that says, "That which does not kill me makes me stronger." Coffee, when consumed according to the wise method, is a perfect example of a hormetic stressor. The caffeine and the hundreds of other compounds present a mild challenge to your system. In response to this challenge, your liver upregulates its powerful antioxidant systems. Your brain cells activate protective pathways. Your metabolic system learns to respond more efficiently. You are not just passively receiving antioxidants, you are actively stimulating your body's own innate fountain of youth, its own powerful internal pharmacy. This is the ultimate shift in perspective. The coffee is not the hero of the story, you are. Your body's own innate intelligence, its profound capacity for adaptation and healing is the hero. The coffee is merely the catalyst, the wise teacher, the sparring partner that calls forth your own inner strength. It is not giving you anything you do not already possess. It is simply reminding your body of the power it holds within itself. To understand this is to hold the final key. It is to move beyond all fear and all dependence. The coffee is not a crutch. It is a training tool. And the goal of the training is not to become better at drinking coffee. The goal of the training is to become a more resilient, more vibrant, and more self-aware human being. Final wisdom? In the quiet moments of your morning, as you hold that warm cup, you are holding more than just a drink. You are holding a choice. You can choose to engage with it unconsciously as a habit, a crutch to get you through the day, or you can choose to engage with it as a practice, a ritual, a conscious act of self-cultivation. You can choose to see it as a wise and powerful ally on your journey. The path of aging is not a path of inevitable decline. It is a path of potential refinement. It is an opportunity to shed the crude habits of our youth and to adopt practices that are more subtle, more intelligent, and more harmonious. The wise use of coffee is one such practice. It is a daily opportunity to practice mindfulness, discipline, and deep listening. It is a way to honor the sacred temple of your body, to tend to your inner flame, to guard your inner light, and to walk the long path of your life with clarity, strength, and grace. The final wisdom is this: the power is not in the cup. The power is in the consciousness of the one who drinks from it. The coffee does not define you. Your relationship with it does. And in that relationship, you have the opportunity every single day to choose the path of wisdom. What if that first cup you hold each morning, that ritual of warmth and aroma, was not a simple habit, but a missed opportunity? A key lying on the table that you have been using merely as a paperweight. Most will just see recipes in what follows. They will see lists of ingredients. 99% will miss the final chapter on the principle of integration, and that is where the true alchemy lies. The secret to turning a simple drink into a profound medicine for your body and your spirit. Understanding ritual: before a single bean is ground, before any water is heated, we must first understand the vessel. And the most important vessel is not the cup, it is your own consciousness. For most, the act of making coffee is a habit, an unconscious sequence of movements performed while the mind is already racing ahead into the anxieties of the day. It is a task to be completed in order to get to the real start of the day. This is a profound misunderstanding. The first moments of your morning are the most sacred. They are the fertile ground in which the seeds of your entire day are planted. To rush through these moments in a state of unconsciousness is to plant seeds of chaos, of reactivity, of stress. A ritual is a habit that has been infused with awareness. It is an act that is performed with intention, with presence. The first and most important recipe is not about coffee at all. It is about transforming the habit of making coffee into a ritual of self-awareness. This requires no change in ingredients, only a change in you. It is the decision to be fully present with the process. When you handle the beans, feel their texture, smell their fragrance. When you pour the water, hear its sound. When you hold the warm cup, feel its heat permeate your hands. In these simple sensory experiences, you are drawing your scattered mind back from the future and the past and anchoring it in the stillness of the present moment. This practice is a form of meditation. It is a training of the mind. It is a declaration that you are the master of your morning, not a slave to your cravings or your anxieties. You are creating a small, sacred space of peace and order before the world has had a chance to impose its chaos upon you. This space, this state of being, is the foundation upon which all true, sustainable energy is built. The energy you seek is not in the coffee. It is in the calm, focused, and present mind that you cultivate while preparing it. After the age of 50, our lives can become more complex, our bodies more sensitive. The need for this inner anchor becomes paramount. The frantic, jarring energy of a hastily consumed stimulant is a fire that burns the temple down. The calm, focused energy born from a mindful ritual is a gentle, steady light that illuminates it from within. Before you explore any of the recipes that follow, practice this first. For 1 week, change nothing about what is in your cup, but change everything about the consciousness you bring to preparing it. This is the non-negotiable first step. Without it, all the healthy ingredients in the world are merely dust thrown into the wind. Black nectar. The first recipe is the foundation of all others. It is the path of simplicity, of purity. It is the art of creating the perfect black nectar. This is not merely black coffee. It is an intentional, well-crafted elixir that honors the true nature of the coffee bean. The principle here is to remove all that is unnecessary, all that masks and distorts, in order to experience the profound, clean energy that a pure, high-quality coffee can provide. For the body after 50, which thrives on clarity and purity, this is the most important recipe to master. It begins with the bean. This is non-negotiable. You cannot create a healing nectar from a polluted source. You must seek out beans that are organic to ensure they are free from the residue of pesticides, which are a burden on the body's detoxification systems. You must choose beans that have been grown with care and processed meticulously to avoid the presence of mycotoxins or molds, which are a hidden source of inflammation and brain fog. See the choice of your coffee bean as you would see the choice of any medicine. Seek purity, seek quality. This is an act of profound self-respect. The second element is the water. Coffee is over 98% water. To use water that is full of chlorine and other chemicals is to begin with a contaminated canvas. Use clean, filtered water. This is a simple step that has a profound impact on both the taste of the coffee and the purity of the final drink. You are ensuring that the only information your body receives is the information from the bean, not the chaotic information of industrial water treatment. The third element is the grind. To experience the full vitality of the coffee, it is best to grind the beans just before you brew. The moment you grind a bean, its volatile aromatic oils, the very essence of its life force, begin to dissipate. Grinding your beans each morning is part of the ritual. It is the act of releasing the soul of the bean at the precise moment you intend to engage with it. The final element is the brewing and the subsequent act of consumption. Brew the coffee using a method that you enjoy and that allows for control, a pour-over, a French press, an AeroPress. And then, and this is the most crucial part of this recipe, you drink it black. No sugar, no milk, no cream, no artificial sweeteners. Each of these additions creates a form of metabolic chaos. Sugar creates a spike and crash in blood sugar. Milk, especially for a maturing digestive system, can be difficult to process and can blunt some of the coffee's beneficial effects. Artificial additives are simply foreign chemical signals that the body does not know how to interpret. To learn to drink and appreciate high-quality black coffee is a discipline. It is a recalibration of your palate away from the artificial intensity of sweetness and towards the complex, subtle, and profound flavors of the bean itself. It is a choice for clean, stable, focused energy without the roller coaster of a blood sugar response. This black nectar is the ultimate foundation. It is the pure, unadulterated tool. Once you have mastered this, once you have learned to appreciate this pure energy, only then can you begin with wisdom to add other elements for specific purposes. Adding structure. This second recipe is designed for a specific purpose. It is for the days when you feel a need for a deeper, more foundational strength. It is for supporting the very structure of your temple, your muscles, your bones, your skin, your connective tissues. The principle here is not just to stimulate energy, but to provide the raw materials for physical repair and resilience. We call this recipe adding structure because that is its literal biological function. It transforms your morning coffee from a simple stimulant into a deeply nourishing, rebuilding elixir. We begin with the foundation of the black nectar, a cup of pure, high-quality, freshly brewed black coffee. The vessel is prepared. Now we add the structural element. This comes in the form of a high-quality, unflavored collagen peptide powder or a clean, easily digestible protein powder. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the human body. It is the scaffolding, the glue that holds your entire structure together. As we age, our body's natural production of collagen declines. This contributes to joint stiffness, sagging skin, and the loss of muscle tone. To consciously add collagen back into your diet is a powerful act of structural support. The key is to choose a powder of the highest purity. For collagen, look for a product that is sourced from grass-fed, pasture-raised animals. This ensures the information, the energy of the source is clean and vital. It should be hydrolyzed, which means it has been broken down into small, easily absorbed peptides that will not clump in your coffee. It should be completely unflavored so that it does not interfere with the pure taste of your black nectar. You will find that a high-quality collagen powder dissolves instantly and is virtually tasteless. You add 1 or 2 scoops of this powder to your black coffee and stir. That is all. The act is simple, but the intention is profound. As you stir, be aware of what you are doing. You are not just mixing a powder, you are consciously adding the building blocks of strength to your morning ritual. You are providing your body with the very amino acids, glycine, proline, hydroxyproline, that it needs to repair your joints, to maintain the elasticity of your skin, and to support the integrity of your muscle tissue. You are turning your coffee into a deeply functional, restorative meal. This recipe is particularly beneficial after the age of 50, when preserving muscle mass and joint health becomes a primary concern. It provides a significant protein boost in a way that is very easy on the digestive system. It is a way to nourish your physical structure without having to prepare a heavy, complex meal. It is a practice of efficiency and wisdom. You are taking the energizing, focusing power of the coffee and pairing it with the deep, structural nourishment of collagen. You are creating a synergy, a whole that is far greater than the sum of its parts. You are not just waking up your mind, you are rebuilding your temple, one sip at a time, focusing fire. This third recipe is a tool for the mind. It is for the days when you require not just energy, but deep, sustained, unshakable focus. It is for the times when you need to sit and work, to study, to create, to engage in a task that requires mental endurance. The principle of this recipe is to provide the brain with a source of clean, efficient, and immediate fuel. We call this recipe focusing fire because its purpose is to tend to the inner lamp of consciousness, to make its flame burn not necessarily brighter but clearer, steadier, and with less smoke. We again begin with our foundation, a cup of pure, high-quality black nectar. The mind is already being awakened by the caffeine. Now, we will provide it with a superior form of fuel. The brain is an incredibly energy-hungry organ, and it loves to run on fat. But not all fats are created equal. The fat we will use is a special type called medium-chain triglycerides, or MCT oil. MCTs are found in coconut oil, but using a purified MCT oil is a more potent and direct approach. Unlike longer-chain fats, MCTs do not need to go through the complex digestive process involving the liver and gallbladder. They are absorbed directly from the gut and sent straight to the liver, where they are converted into molecules called ketones. Ketones are a remarkable source of energy for the brain. They are a clean-burning fuel. When your brain uses glucose, sugar, for energy, it can be like a sputtering, smoky fire. It can lead to fluctuations in energy and mental clarity. When your brain uses ketones, it is like a clean, quiet, natural gas flame. The energy is stable, sustained, and it does not produce the same inflammatory byproducts. The result is a state of enhanced mental clarity, of effortless focus. The brain fog lifts. The mental chatter quiets down. You are able to sustain your concentration for longer periods without feeling fatigued. The recipe is simple. To your hot black coffee, you add 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon of high-quality MCT oil. For this to work, it must be blended. A simple spoon stir will leave a layer of oil on top. The best method is to use a small, inexpensive milk frother or to carefully use a blender. The blending process emulsifies the oil, breaking it down into tiny droplets and creating a beautiful, creamy, latte-like texture without any dairy. This creamy drink is not just a pleasure to consume. The emulsification makes the oil even easier for your body to absorb and utilize. As you drink this focusing fire coffee, be aware of its purpose. You are consciously providing your brain with the highest quality fuel you can find. You are supporting your cognitive function, protecting your brain cells, and cultivating a state of deep, unwavering focus. This is a powerful tool. It is not something to be used carelessly. It is for the times when you need your mind to be a sharp, clear, and reliable instrument. It is the practice of becoming the master of your own mental state, using intelligent nutrition to create the precise inner environment you need to accomplish your purpose. warming flow. This fourth recipe is designed to bring a gentle, warming, and flowing energy to the body. It is for the cool mornings, for the days when you feel a bit of stiffness or stagnation. It is a recipe to awaken not just the mind, but the entire circulatory system, to encourage the river of life to flow freely to every extremity. The principle here is the use of aromatic spices, not for flavor alone, but for their profound medicinal and energetic properties. We call this recipe warming flow, for its purpose is to create a gentle inner warmth and to promote a smooth, harmonious circulation of blood and energy. We begin, as always, with the pure foundation of the black nectar. This provides the initial awakening energy. Now we will introduce the spices. These are not to be used all at once, but are tools to be chosen from, depending on your constitution and your need for the day. The first and most important of these spices is Ceylon cinnamon. Be sure it is Ceylon, not the more common cassia cinnamon. Ceylon cinnamon is a true cinnamon with a more delicate flavor and, most importantly, powerful health benefits without the potentially harmful compounds found in cassia. Cinnamon is a warming spice. It has been used for centuries to improve circulation and, most notably, to help balance blood sugar. By adding a dash of cinnamon to your coffee, you are helping to smooth out any potential blood sugar fluctuations, leading to a more stable and sustained energy. It is a wise addition to any cup. The second spice is cardamom. Cardamom is a highly aromatic spice, often used in Ayurvedic and Middle Eastern traditions. It is considered a digestive aid, helping to counteract some of the acidity of the coffee and making it easier on the stomach. Energetically, it is both warming and clarifying. It is said to open the mind and lift the spirit. A single crushed cardamom pod added to your coffee grounds before brewing, or a tiny pinch of the ground powder stirred into your cup, adds a beautiful exotic aroma and a subtle harmonizing quality. The third spice, for those who seek a bit more fire, is ginger, or a tiny pinch of cayenne pepper. Ginger is a powerful circulatory stimulant and a potent anti-inflammatory. A small slice of fresh ginger in your brew or a pinch of dried ginger powder can create a deep, penetrating warmth. Cayenne is even more powerful. A very small pinch, just a few specks, is enough. It is a profound activator of circulation, sending a wave of warmth and energy throughout the entire system. This should be used with caution and respect, especially if you have a sensitive stomach. To create your warming flow coffee, you choose your spice or a combination. Perhaps a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon and a pinch of cardamom. You can add them directly to your cup or, for a more infused flavor, to the coffee grounds before you brew. As you drink it, feel the gentle warmth spread through your body. Be aware of the intention to encourage flow, to dissolve stagnation, to bring a gentle, active, and vibrant life force to every part of your being. This is a recipe for embodiment, for feeling alive and present, not just in your mind, but in your entire physical vessel. Cooling calm. Not all moments call for a hot, stimulating fire. Sometimes, especially as the day progresses or in the warmer seasons, the body calls for a different kind of energy. It calls for a cool, calm, and collected focus. This fifth recipe is designed for these moments. It is a way to enjoy the clarifying benefits of coffee without adding excess heat or stimulation to the system. The principle here is the transformation of energy, from a fiery awakening to a tranquil clarity. We call this recipe cooling calm. The foundation for this recipe is different. Instead of brewing hot, we will use a cold brew method. Cold brew coffee is not simply hot coffee that has been chilled. It is made by steeping coarse coffee grounds in cold, filtered water for an extended period, typically 12 to 24 hours. This slow, gentle extraction process creates a coffee concentrate that is fundamentally different. It is significantly less acidic than hot brewed coffee, making it much easier on the stomach. It has a smoother, richer, and less bitter flavor profile. And while it is still rich in caffeine, many people find that its energy is less jarring, less acidic, and more serene. To create the cold brew concentrate, you simply combine 1 part coarse coffee grounds with about 4 parts cold, filtered water in a large jar. You let it sit on your counter or in your refrigerator for 12 to 24 hours, then strain it through a fine mesh sieve or cheesecloth. This concentrate will be very strong and it can be stored in the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks. The recipe for cooling calm is to take a small amount of this cold brew concentrate, perhaps a quarter of a cup, and dilute it with cool filtered water to your desired strength. Now we will add the element of calm. This can be a single drop of pure vanilla extract. Vanilla has a soothing, comforting aroma that has a calming effect on the nervous system. Alternatively, you can add a splash of unsweetened coconut milk or almond milk. The healthy fats and the creamy texture have a grounding effect, tempering the stimulating nature of the caffeine. A single cardamom pod dropped into the glass can also lend its clarifying and soothing properties. The key to this recipe is to sip it slowly. It is not a drink to be gulped down for a quick jolt. It is a meditative drink for a warm afternoon. It is for when you need to be focused but also relaxed. It is for finding clarity without agitation. As you drink it, feel its cool, smooth energy. Feel it clarifying your mind without creating tension in your body. This is a practice of balance. It is the wisdom of knowing that not all energy needs to be fiery. There is a profound strength in quiet, cool, and collected focus. This recipe is a tool for cultivating that state of being, a reminder that true power can also be found in tranquility. Principle integration.